Ducks Unlimited has a private lands program that's been in the works for about 10 years. So over time, we've had a lot of producers state that they want to restore grasses on their marginal acres. However, the financial support wasn't there from the time the grass went into the ground and when they could actually start generating income off of it through grazing or haying.
RCPP, or the Regional Conservation Partnership Program, is a new opportunity with some of the more recent farm bills to allow partners to bring some added value to the table for the delivery of NRCS programs.
The priority of many of these funding opportunities comes back to supporting and restoring grassland landscapes across the state. You know, there has been a conversion of grass to row crop acres, and there are a lot of associated resource concerns that are created by the loss of grasslands.
One of the main purposes of this program is to take marginal cropland and seed it back down to grass to provide producers with an alternative option for those marginal acres in the form of either forage for hay production or additional grazing acres for cattle.
From a soil health perspective, seeding this back to grass is not only going to promote a lot of active biology below the soil that's going to filter runoff and nutrients that have ran off of other fields, but it's also going to promote a healthy environment above the soil. Healthy cattle, healthy humans, and a lot of healthy wildlife as well.
It's going to produce habitat for everything from pollinators to bumblebees to insects to pheasants to ducks to deer. But on top of that, it's still going to be an agriculture production and provide a lot of good grazing, and it's going to serve to have some capacity for our hydrology. It's going to decrease soil erosion. It's going to filter any and all water that heads to the stream, and so it's going to have solid impact on water quality as well as soil health.
So we have a lot of partners in this program. We're calling it the Working Grasslands Partnership. These groups are all different in what we want to accomplish with our constituents and those sorts of things, but really the common denominator here is grasslands. We all agree that grasslands are a critical component in South Dakota for a wide variety of factors, for wildlife species, for building soil health in some of our marginal soils, for profitability with our livestock industries. If we can promote the development of grasslands and keep what we have intact, we're all going to accomplish this mission.
Through our conservation forage program, basically what that allows is for a landowner to receive payment for our prairie seeding, as well as a deferment payment for the following 3 years during the establishment period. Making sure that as we're doing these seedings, we're doing them right and we're allowing them for the time to establish and recover.
The difficult problem with this is you have farmland and we need it to be grass, but during that awkward establishment phase, it takes a few years for those natives to really establish, and so you really can't use it. So you have the expense of the grass seed, and then you're not able to use it, and so that payment certainly helps us make that decision and get through that awkward stage.
This specific tract of land had some pretty tough soils on it, and it was probably best suited to be in grass and not broken initially. So it's back in its preferred state, having native grasses out here. The wildlife, the grouse and ducks and pheasants and songbirds are showing up that obviously weren't here when the land was cropped. The grass seeding is comprised of at least a dozen different grasses and a dozen and a half or more native forbs that the insects and other pollinators have already taken to in the first year of growth here.
Today I'm out with some folks from the Ducks Unlimited. We're working on a grass restoration program where we put cropland back into grass just to try and rejuvenate the ground. Some of the fields that I picked for this had high salinity areas that weren't growing very well, high erosion factors where we're getting washes out there and stuff, so they were good fields, good acres to target for this kind of a grass restoration.
What's happening there is that excess moisture is, evaporating and bringing those salts up to the top. And then unfortunately, farmers aren't being able to farm those acres because they're unproductive and they have those salinity issues. So fortunately, with programs like the RCPP program, we're able to help producers implement more perennial systems to mimic what nature had here in central South Dakota in a perennial system, and get those perennials back into their rotation. These perennials have a lot of soil health benefits. They're going to have soil cover throughout the year. They're going to keep that living root throughout the year as well. And they're also going to utilize water. So annual crops only utilize water for part of the year, where perennial crops are utilizing water all throughout the year. That water usage is going to help push those salts back down further into the soil, and thus making a healthier soil and then healthier crops for that producer as well.
With our most recent sign up with the Regional Conservation Partnership Program, instead of all kind of going to the table and bringing different proposals to fill those individual goals, we decided to pool our resources and all come together. Let's put one really big project together. It's a statewide proposal trying to bring new, innovative practices to the table to incentivize restoring grasslands and using our existing grasslands in rotational grazing systems.
As a cattle rancher and a farmer, I try to work together for the conservation to make sure that the ground and the land is being as productive as possible. So over the years, as you have crop ground that's losing its productivity, just having bad spots in it that aren't productive, you can get into a field of 100 acres and pretty soon have 5-6 acres that aren't producing anything. Well, that costs you a lot of money. So with the livestock on the other side, so you can utilize it, grass restoration makes a lot of sense to me, because then I can integrate that into the rest of my programs, rotational grazing, winter crops or cover crops, things like that. But having that grass come back, it increases my stocking rates and my ability to be profitable for the future, and you're maximizing your efficiency on the ground, getting that soil health, whether it's crop ground or grasslands, in the best condition possible, the more profitable you'll be for the future.
Part of what spurred this on is my belief in that this was the prairie and it should be back to the prairie, and our land will produce more if we use it as it was meant to be used. I am convinced that having animals on the land is the best thing for the land, and it's the best thing for us.
We want to focus on a working lands approach to conservation. We want to promote rotational grazing systems, help our producers continue to make money on these practices, again with the goal that when these 10-year commitments are up, if these grasslands are healthy and they're profitable, they're going to be there after that contract is over, and hopefully for a very long time. That's our goal.
It's just really great to be able to have different advocates working with each other to help find these projects. It's not too often you come across a quarter-acre section of land in this part of the country to seed back to, and that's just it's really rewarding, I guess, getting a chance to be part of these projects.